Welcome to the land of Ecuador. Ecuador is the smallest island of the Andean highland countries and is located on the northwestern coast of South America. It is bordered by Colombia and Peru, making it one of the only two countries that does not touch Brazil or South America. The República del Ecuador, or the Republic of the Equator's capital, is Quito. It is located on one of the country's 24 provinces. Did you know that Ecuador has the highest capital city in the world? Which means that if you go there, it feels that you are climbing a mountain due to the lack of oxygen. Speaking of mountains, Ecuador is home to one of the world's highest concentration of volcanoes in the world. Since it sits on the Ring of Fire of the northern volcanic zone in the Andes, and thanks to the subduction of the Nazca Plate under the South American Plate, Ecuador is subject to regular volcanoes and seismic activity. The Sangay and Reventador volcanoes just erupted in 2016, and the Cotopaxi, which is the most famous volcano in Ecuador, is in a restless state. The Andes highlands are generally colder than these volcanoes, and within the valleys are steep and fertile hills with farms and ranches surrounding them, which are irrigated with the snow that comes off of the mountains. Like many other countries, Ecuador has major exports as well, which are oil, bananas, wood, and flowers. Oil makes up over 40% of exports and provides over a quarter in public sector revenue. There is an issue though. Most of the oil plots are located in the eastern Amazon region, which means that there is a conflict with the preservation of the forest. Also, with about 25% of the global output, Ecuador is also the largest banana exporter, which means that there's a possibility that you might have a banana from Ecuador right in your house. Go ahead, check. I'll wait. Now it's time for everyone's favorite topic, food! Most Ecuadorian food is consisted of rice and meat. Some delicious dishes in Ecuador are seco de chivo, locaro, cheese empadas, and for some variety, they have chonotacoro, which is a large beetle larvae, and most of the locals actually eat them alive. Another strange food that they have in Ecuador is cuy, which is actually guinea pig. While many Ecuadorians like these types of foods, not all of them eat them. Tourists like ourselves can also grab a hearty hamburger or a traditional home-cooked meal from the vendors. You know what's almost better than the food itself? The people eating it. Let's talk about demographics. The country has about 16.2 million people, and about 70% are mestizo. Whites, blacks, and Amerindians make up each about 8% respectively, and the remainder are other groups like East Asian. The official language of Ecuador is Spanish, and there's a rumor that Ecuadorian Spanish is one of the smoothest and easiest Spanish languages to understand. After an economic crisis, they switched their currency from the sucre to the US dollar. Also with Spanish, there are 14 indigenous languages that are recognized and set up throughout the regions. Some of these Spanish languages are Quechua, which is spoken in the Andes, and Chitar, which is spoken in the Amazon. The government there is actually trying to preserve the Quechua language by instituting programs on television and other interactive programs at schools. Since Ecuador is predominantly Christian, and one of the largest denominations being Catholics, many families there value the godparent system, which means that just like our godparents in the Catholic faith, they are there to support and help raise the child not just in their spiritual growth, but also in their physical growth with financial bills and physically with food and such. Like with all countries, there is always going to be politics. Currently, there is a love-hate relationship with the US and Spain. Politically, they are against capitalist and imperialism, but since most of their trade comes from these countries, there's nothing much that they can do. And that's it. That's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, wear your seatbelt. Later.